Good morning. You know what we're going to talk about today? We are going to talk about essential elements to productive politics. Essential elements to productive politics. You know, and I have a confession to make. I owe politics an apology. You know, I've been fussing and cussing about politics all this time, when the reality is that there is absolutely nothing wrong with politics. Politics is unavoidable. Politics is essential to life in America and even in the world. In a democracy, we have a good system. Listen, we have a good system of government. Democracy is good. And there really isn't anything wrong with politics when you look at politics by itself. What's happening is that there are certain shady characters who have been and are giving politics a bad name. This is my take. So don't hate. No hating allowed. Good morning. Well, good Thursday morning. And welcome to another episode of My Take on this beautiful, chilly, cool Thursday morning, October the 28th, 2021. Can you believe it? We're almost in November. We're almost out of October already. Man, well, I thank God that we're here to see it. Aren't you? Aren't you glad about it? I am. Amen. I am. Listen, for those who think politics have no place in the church, or that the preacher shouldn't talk about politics, nothing could be further from the truth. First of all, let's look at the first thing. Religion and church are some of the most political entities in the entire world. I mean, there is politics galore in the church. And outside of our religious convictions, for those who have such, there's nothing that affects our life. There's nothing that impacts our lives more than politics. Just look around, check it out, and look at how politics really govern our lives. Everything in this society is decided by and operated by politics. Economics is tied to politics. Freedoms we cherish are tied to politics. The governance of our lives and our ability to enjoy the American way of life, guess what? Tied to politics. Everything we do, everything we can do, everything we can't do is decided by politics. Even our religious beliefs are in some way tied to or governed to some extent by politics. I mean, politics is everywhere. And I don't mind talking about politics, and I don't mind talking about politicians. I mean, there's a reason I talk about politics, and there's a reason that I talk about politicians. They need to be talked about. Yeah. The secular king and the system is supposed to be kept in check by the anointed prophet and the church. Politics needs to be set straight, and crooked and corrupt politicians need to be exposed. They need to be uncovered and removed from office. And others need to be held accountable for what we appointed or elected them for. Yes, I know sometimes our people be angry about how politicians and the powers that be have all but destroyed politics in our nation and our right to live free. Why wouldn't we talk about that, what the people are talking about? And if we love and care about the people, why wouldn't we talk about those things? Why wouldn't we discuss politics when it affects our lives so much? That's our freedom. Freedom should mean free from poverty, free from low or no adequate health care or housing for all Americans, free from a one-sided, imbalanced workforce, free from hate and discrimination, free from racism, sexism, and every other ism. Politics in America should be about freedom. That's what our nation is about. Freedom to live where we want, freedom to work where we want, freedom to do what we want, freedom to do what we want with our own bodies, freedom to marry who we want. And our freedoms are being threatened by the politicians and the powers that be. How can we talk about hope and healing if we don't talk about politics? As a matter of fact, when you look at it, much of what bothers us and ails us has to do with politics. Much of our hope is lost and gone because of what? What is happening with the politics. So how can we talk about social and economic justice without talking about politics? Even Jesus dealt with social, political, and economic issues of his day as much as anything else that he dealt with. Listen, he was concerned about the person living on earth, amen, just as well as he was concerned about the person on their way to heaven. Politics is a part of us. It's here and it's here to stay. How can we expect the community leaders, preachers, to speak and the preacher not say anything? The preacher's a mum on the subject. How can we encourage engagement and involvement as leaders in the government of America among our youth, our young people, and our up-and-coming citizens of America if we are afraid or too spiritual to speak to the issues that plague us day in and day out? I don't get it. But you do your thing and I'll do mine. You know, the devil and devilish people would love to silence the church and silence the preacher on the subject of politics. Oh yeah, they love that. And as and I'm always talking about politics, well, not always, but I do make sure that I get it in. And some may say, man, aren't you being a little rough on them? I hope I'm being a lot rough on them. Why? Because they are a whole lot rough on us. But I'll have to pause. As always, I must acknowledge that there are many fine men and women who have and who are unselfishly offering themselves as public servants. And they are there in the political arena and they're doing a wonderful job and they're honest and they're trustworthy. They're dedicated to justice and liberty for all. And just as in every other field of endeavor, there are the good and there are the bad. And so I don't mean to, in any way whatsoever at all, to paint everybody with the same brush. I'm not trying to lump everybody in the same category or in the same bucket or in the same group. There are some good politicians, honest politicians out there who are not stained by the deeply rooted corruption in politics that has existed for years here in America. Politics in America should be a system of that is free of corruption. It should be a system free of greed, free of gerrymandering, and free of tampering with the voting rights and the privileges that we enjoy as Americans. It ought to be free of limiting our opportunities as Americans. I mean, it's time that we are returned, if you will, to a government that is truly of the people, for the people, and by the people. Get it out of the hands of the greedy folks. Politics in America should be and must be free of partisan politics. That's one of our biggest problems, I should say, in America. The tables have been turned on us, and we have been duped into turning over our citizens' responsibility to the politicians and their business buddies. Do you realize we've been tricked? We have been tricked into relinquishing our rights and our responsibilities and our benefits to govern ourselves to those who couldn't care less about our rights or our well-being. Listen, as Americans, we deserve more. We're entitled to more. We have far too many politicians fighting personal and business battles. Listen, people, listen. There are far too many politicians who are fighting personal and business battles and pushing their personal agendas on the public's dime at our expense. We are financing their grand ambitions to become and stay rich and famous and powerful. You know who's paying the ticket? We are. You know who's helping to elevate them? We are. From time to time, you might hear someone talking about take politics out of this. You've heard me say it. I've said it a lot. Take politics out of this. Take politics out of that. And I realized, I finally come to realize that really it is not politics. That's really not what it is. We can't take politics out. We can't even take politics out of the church. We can't even take politics out of our government. We can't take politics out of anything. Our country is built and sustained by politics. Listen, but I know what the problem is. I believe I understand what people mean, and I'm finally realizing even what I mean when I say it, when I'm talking about take politics out of this, out of that. And I think what we really mean is we want to say take the politics. When we say take the politics out of things or a particular situation, what we really mean is take the corruption out. Yeah, that's it. Take out the crookedness. Take out the favoritism and take out the nepotism in politics. In other words, remove the buddy system from politics. Remove the good old boy network from politics and stop riding our backs to fame and glory and wealth while keeping us poor and paying more than our fair share of taxes and fees and fines. You know, as I continue to do business and as I continue to watch and monitor how business operates these days, and one of the things that I've noticed, and we've always had fees and fines and penalties and all of that, but you know, everybody's getting in on the act now. I mean, every time you sneeze, there's a fee. I'm telling you, there are fees out there. That's one way they have found to increase the prices. They make it look like it's one price, when in fact, by the time they add the fees onto it, it's another price. The bad about that, it's getting worse. And it's time that we call them out. It's time that we set the record straight. Listen, they are manipulating us. They are the powers that be I'm talking about, and the crooked and the corrupt politicians that I'm talking about, those, not everybody. They are exploiting us as Americans. You know, everybody was talking about trying to help us during the pandemic. Now everybody is sticking it to us. Well, what happened to all that love? What happened to all of that we are better together stuff? What happened to all of that? And now people are still trying to recover from all the physical and mental and emotional and economic effects of the pandemic. And now they are shoving our backs against the wall. Fee this, fee that, fee that. You know, they'll tell you, well, it's $250, but then there's a fee, administrative fee. Some kind of fee. There's a fee of $526. You know, they put the price out there, and then you add, make sure you read the fine print. Make sure you read the fine print. I'm telling you. Listen, when you look at politics, politics is here to stay, okay? So stop being like I was, stop fussing and cussing about politics, and let's deal with the crooked and corrupt politicians that keep giving politics a bad name. Politics, is nothing wrong with it, except it just needs a major overhaul, a major makeover. And listen, it deals with the politicians. It deals with corporate America. So it's not so much as the politics need that major makeover, need that major facelift, if you will. It is our government. It is the politicians. It is, I believe, our business leaders. You know, those that are greedy and want everything for themselves. And when I look at this situation, we've gone so far and things have gotten so bad now that I say for this one, we need to call in the big crane with the huge wrecking ball and begin knocking down the system of politics of old and knocking down politics as usual and build a system indeed for the people and by the people. Listen, seeing that politics is going to be with us for the duration, we might as well fix what's wrong with politics or what's wrong with those who are governing, who are involved in politics. And we might as well make the use of it for all Americans. You know, certain politicians have already proven that we can't trust them to protect and preserve politics and our democracy and our rights. And we can't trust them. They've already demonstrated that. There are some who've already demonstrated they cannot be trusted. And listen, and they certainly can't be trusted with our rights and privileges as Americans. They've already shown us that. So it's time we take back our democracy from the bureaucrats, the special interest groups, and the corporate giants of America. Put it back in the hands of the people. Listen, politics in America should ensure equal justice and equal opportunities for all. Politics should exist for the sake of the people and not for the sake of party loyalty and party advancement. There's something wrong when there's something wrong when the American people are at risk. But certain politicians and the political parties and their partners in crime known as corporate America, when they are safe, we are at risk, but they are safe and secure. There is something very wrong with that. And I hear all the talk about how hard it is to get people to come to work these days. And I understand that. I understand that there is a problem. I admit that there's a problem and we need to fix it. But when the people feel abused and when the people feel that they've been used and mistreated, they really aren't all that happy. They really aren't all that excited to see you again. Are you hearing me, Mr. and Miss Employer? The people aren't lazy. They're just fed up. Corporate America has been working for years to reduce the workforce. They have been working to reduce the workforce and increase the profit. The only difference now is that it happened so suddenly. It happened so unexpectedly, and it is happening too quickly for them to adjust, for them to digest what's happening. But the jobs of the American worker was already at risk. It was already on the chopping block. You see it right now. You see it today with all the do-it-yourself services, where there are no workers there. There's nobody there to help you. You bag your own groceries. You check yourself out. You carry your own bags to the car now. You see it. Listen, with what used to be service stations, now they're with no service and have become basically just pumping stations with 20 pumps and 2 employees to monitor the pumps, to monitor and run the restaurant, the clothing store, the entertainment center. All that is contained within that pumping station, even a grocery store. 1 or 2 employees running around. Why? Because we have to do everything ourselves. They're cutting back on employees. This happened years ago. This is nothing new, really. It happened years ago when corporate America found out that they could, I won't say make, but they could trick 1 employee into doing the job of 5 employees. They began to cut the workforce. This is nothing new. They are doing this to us. We're not doing it to them. Or you hear what I'm saying? This started a long time ago when they started downsizing and cutting back. It was not because the company was at risk, it's because their profits were at risk. So once they figured out that you would go for it, that I would go for it, then they just kept on doing it, and they are still doing it. They're still doing it. And while we're cussing and fussing, the Mexicans were coming across the border and other people who are simply coming here trying to make life better for themselves, we see this cutting, this downsizing of the workforce. We see it with all the jobs that are going overseas. Stop cussing the Mexicans and start talking to you, and maybe even cussing them, the corporate giants of America. Listen, these are companies, these are corporations that along with their political politicians, I should say, their politician friends, along with them, here's what they are doing. They are going into countries and they're doing business there and then bringing it back to America when they have had it done for a dime and bring it back and sell it to us for $10. They are publicly, when you look at the countries where everything is going, the various countries, they're publicly cursing and condemning those countries while privately increasing imports from those particular countries, making the rich richer. Look at it. Just about everything I order from a certain company, I won't I won't call their name. Just about everything I order from them is made and imported from China. Yo, what's up with that? Without China, I'm not sure, that some companies would remain in business. It seems everything is made in anywhere other than America. Made in China, Honduras, Vietnam, among the many countries where our corporate giants have taken their business, denying jobs to the American workers. And we are running around here cussing and hating on people and blaming them that we don't have a job. And now they're trying to make it seem like it's our fault. We can't get workers to come to work. Let me tell you something. They only want you there long enough to get them out of this little low spot they're in right now. Then they're going right back to eliminating jobs. They're trying to get you in there right now because they need you. They need you to help get their profits, boost their profits. But once they get back on level ground again, I hate to inform you, my friend, but many of you are going to be long gone. That's the trend. All you got to do is open your eyes and see it. We see the decline of the American, we see the decline of the American worker with the installation of so many self-checkout registers that they are now known as, now they got checkout centers and checkout stations now, where you got 20, 30 checkout registers. You do it yourself. It's crazy when you finally even reach a register that is operated by a real person. You get up there and they want you to do more work than they are. Want you to punch this and move this and move that. And I'm looking like, wait a minute, I don't work here. I don't work here. They pay you to work, not me. Don't put a screen up there and you got to punch this in and put this in, all of this kind of stuff. No, technology is great, except when it is used to eliminate the American workers and ruin American families. Then it's not so great. You hear it now. Corporate America is whining and complaining about having to pay more taxes. Only their share, pay their share of taxes. And they're whining and complaining about limits that may be placed on what they can charge, to eliminate the price gouging. They can charge for their products and their services. But their business is not in jeopardy. That's what they would have you believe. The only thing that is being threatened are their enormous profits. Would you agree? Would you agree with me that it is time for a change? I think so. But hold on. When the government, when the politics is once again placed in your hands and in mine, are we prepared? Are we willing to receive it and take responsibility for it? Are we willing to get involved? Are we willing to work on it and work for it? And are we willing, my friend, to invest the time, the energy, and the resources needed that are necessary to make politics work properly and productively? Are you ready? There are expectations and responsibilities and demands for the politicians, but there are also expectations. There are also responsibilities, and there are also demands of us as responsible citizens of America. What you are not willing to fix, stop complaining about it being broken. Did you hear what I said? What you are not, I'm talking to you, yeah, you. What you are not willing to fix, stop complaining about it being broken. What has happened? And what will it take for politics to work as it was designed? I told you there are some essential elements to productive politics, good politics, a working system of politics, for it to work for the good of the people, for the good of all people. Do you mind if I share just very briefly, I hope, very briefly, a few things that I believe are essential elements to productive politics. Number one is education. Education. Learn know and understand the system and learn and know and understand how it works. If you don't know the rules of the game, you're always going to be at a disadvantage in the game. If you don't know the rules of the game, you're always going to be at a disadvantage. So I would say the number one is education. Number one, learn about this system of democracy that we have in America. Find out what is going on, how it works, and how you can work within the scope of the guidelines of politics and American government. Are you hearing me? And then number two, I would say what is an essential element to productive politics is an informed citizenry. And all of us, we can complain about somebody not telling us anything. That is their responsibility to tell us, but it's also our responsibility to find out. Stop sitting at home waiting on, some kind of a door-to-door delivery. Get out, beat the bushes, find out what's going on, stay abreast of all that is happening in politics and that is happening in America. I mean, as distasteful as it can be sometimes, you still need to know and be up to date with what's going on. Stop chasing the train once it is pulled into the station and then pulled out and on its way down the track. Then we will, cry foul. Wait. Get involved. I said get involved. And that's the third thing I want to talk about. Listen, what I call essential element to productive politics is involvement in the process. Learn what it's all about. Stay abreast. Keep up to date on what's going on, the changes that are made in the laws, the changes that are made in the government. Stay up to date on what's happening and stay ahead of the curve, if you will. But stay involved. Get involved and stay involved in the process and stop depending on everybody else to do all the work while you sit back and do nothing but complain. Yep, that is exactly what I said. You need to get up, get involved, and stop sitting back complaining about those who are out there and what they're doing with the system when we are not even involved and we're not even aware, we're not kept abreast of what's going on in our country. You hear me? All right. Then number four, the fourth thing that I would say is that is essential, an essential element in productive politics in America is investing in and supporting the system. Investing in it. Listen, I'm willing to pay my fair share. I'm willing to contribute whatever I can contribute to the cause. We've got to invest. We got to stop expecting something out of a situation when we've not put anything into the situation. You know what they say is it's kind of like the bank works, I'm not going in there, maybe I do it by mistake, but I'm not going in there trying to make a withdrawal when I haven't made a deposit. Come on now. Ain't no point in you sticking that little card in that machine and you know you ain't got no money in there. No, that ain't walking by faith. I'm not going to tell you what it is, what it really is, but it's not walking by faith. Listen, we can't keep expecting so much out of our country if we're not putting anything into it. Stop just beating it down all the time and let's work to build it up. I talked about that not long ago. Undergirding our nation. All right, so that's one of the essential elements is investing in and supporting, investing in and supporting the system. Then I think one of the critical missing elements is compassion. It seems that in everything that we do is so cold and so calloused, and it seems like we as people hardly care anything about each other. Let me tell you something. Have a heart. Have a heart, America, and not just rules and regulations, and stop telling us all these lies about what the computer did and what the computer won't let you do, and stop telling all these lies about, our board up here, our board across the country, our board in another country won't allow me to add enough of that foolishness. Have a heart. Have a heart. Listen, everybody's not where you are. Everybody can't do what you can do. Have a heart, America. And that's what we're losing. We're losing our heart. Are you hearing me? What we need, 16 that we need, that is an essential element to productive politics is honesty. Honesty. just come clean. Honesty. Just tell the truth. Honesty. Honesty. We need honesty in politics. Politics doesn't have to be corrupt. It doesn't have to be dirty. It doesn't have to be nasty. Be honest. Then number 7, kind of goes hand in hand, trustworthiness. You know, one of our biggest threats to America today is that the people of America don't trust the government of America. I don't care what it is, Democrat, Republican, indifferent, whatever, independent, whatever it is, doesn't matter. The people of America don't trust America. Why? Because of the corrupt politicians of America and their bosom buddies, the giant corporate businesses of America. America has lost the trust of the people. And, you know, when I hear people now bashing our current president, and, and I'm not going to say anything because I bashed the last president and still bash him, because I think he's so deserving. That's my take. That's my right to say whatever I want to say when it comes to that. And I think that our last president did a disservice to America. I think it led us down the wrong path, and I think in many ways it made us a much worse America. But now we're at a place where people hardly trust it. We're dealing with trust on every hand, and they're trying to get us to do things. They're trying to pay us to do things. They're trying to threaten us to do things. When all that needs to be is trust. If we trusted you, we would believe you. If we trusted you, we would follow you. If we trusted you, we would consider what you're asking us to do. You can't pay me to do this and do that. What you need to be trying to do, politicians of America, business people of America, you need to be trying to build and win our trust back, because we don't trust you. We don't. So stop talking about us and stop putting us down and stop criticizing and condemning us just because we don't do some of the things you ask us to do or tell us to do. We don't trust you, and therefore we're not going to do it. All right, let me give you number 8. I only got 10, so hold on. Number 8, we need transparency. We need transparency. Stop all the exploitation and manipulation. Stop all of that. And just be honest, be trustworthy, be transparent. Stop operating under the table. Come out of the back room. Stop meeting in private with your own little personal gang. Are you hearing me? And then number 9, and you probably already know all these already. Number 9 is one of the essentials, elements to productive politics is accountability. 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 We as the American people got to go back to holding our politicians accountable. We got to have accountability. We can't continue to allow them to run loose. We can't continue to allow them to do what they want to do. They've already demonstrated that they can't be trusted. And we have to hold them accountable, my friend. That's part of our responsibility, is to hold them accountable. Then the last one that I believe is an essential element to productive politics is shared responsibility and shared benefits. Shared responsibility and shared benefits. There was a time, companies, in trying to promote themselves, they would say that this doesn't cost as much for us anymore, and we're saving on this and we're saving on that now, and we're passing the savings on to you. I bet you haven't heard that one lately. I bet you haven't heard that. They're raking in the billions. But are they trying to give it back to us? Is the government? Listen, they'll do it when it benefits them more than it benefits us. But in America, in the politics of America, there has to be responsibility, shared responsibility, and shared benefits. You can't take and not give. That's what we need. Now that's my list of essential elements for productive politics. Are you hearing what I'm saying? That's my take. Now, what do you have to say? Come on, sound off now. I know you have an opinion. I know you have some thoughts about it. I know you have a stand on it. Sound off, my friend. Thank you so much for being with us on our My Take YouTube channel. Now go on and enjoy your Thursday, and I hope to see you again on the next Thursday. Please be safe and take care of your family.